a car that were sacred, I think the F40 would qualify. But it's at the end of the day, it's just a car. And that's why I'm willing to cut it up. Sometimes it's helpful to put the body back on the car, remind yourself what it is that you're building, because when you're building an entire car from the ground up, from scratch, it's almost entirely small details. It's, building the thing tube by tube that I love most about any of it. My name is Mike Burroughs. We're here at the StanceWorks garage in Southern California. I've been in this shop now for about 15 years, and it is my home away from home. It really is honestly kind of home. I spend every waking hour here building everything that I can, and there's been a lot of projects that have happened behind this roll-up door, lots of memories here, and I don't think I ever would have guessed that this is where I'd be if you could go back 15, going on 20 years now of doing this in some form or another. I certainly would love to go back and tell the 16-year-old kid that was behind the wheel of his first crappy BMW that this is where the path was going to take him, because I think it'd blow his mind. When it comes to the car thing, I think I was a bit of a late bloomer. Everybody talks about stories with dad or grandpa in the garage, kind of apple not falling far from the tree. And for me, my dad and stepdad were both into cars, but that's not what I grew up doing. I really didn't express any interest in it until probably 15 years old, when I realized I was going to get a driver's license. And then that's when the snowball effect began, and I wanted a Honda Civic more than anything. I think any kid that kind of grew up in the 90s, that was the coolest car to have. And I never got it, never have had one, but what I did buy, my kind of first ever real project, was a $250 E30 that I had to beg my parents to let me buy with my own money. But they were convinced I was going to go bankrupt trying to repair this car and put it back on the road. And honestly, they were probably right, but I wanted to prove them wrong, and I managed to drive the car one time before somebody rear-ended it the first day I drove it to school. But that yielded, an insurance payout to buy my first E36, which I still have today, 19 years later. And it's just been kind of the same process ever since, is just building one car to afford the next one, flipping them, trying to snowball my way into these crazy Ferrari projects. And really, I think the journey to get to this point is most surprising, because I never really expected to be a car builder. The car thing for me really all began as photography. So yeah, I went to college for photography, and in that time started the blog back in the heyday when that's how people consumed their automotive media, before Facebook, before Instagram, before YouTube was really a thing. And it really took off. We had a forum back when that was a thing as well. It grew and grew. I think by the time we really ended it, it was 120,000 registered users, which was a really big forum at the time. The website gained enough momentum that in 2011, I kind of had a crossroads of deciding, is this what I'm going to do? Do I believe in this enough to pursue it? So I withdrew from my classes and I moved here to Southern California in 2011, and have been quite literally right here in Costa Mesa ever since, just kind of pursuing different avenues for StanceWorks, whether that's storytelling. We've gotten to do so many cool things, attending vintage races across the world, unveiling cars with BMW, my favorite mark, telling countless stories of people and the machines they've worked really hard to build, and becoming like a really special place for people to get to celebrate kind of climbing that mountain. For a long time I thought that might be what I do forever, but as I think most of us know at this point, nobody really reads blogs anymore, and so I kind of had to pivot. I had to figure out what comes next, and I hated the idea of just relegating my photography and writing to Instagram posts where it'd get lost after somebody looked at it for 15 minutes, and so I pivoted to YouTube. I figured it's time to go to a visual format, a video format of storytelling. And I thought maybe that'd continue as telling other people's stories, but honestly, the whole thing it really just became a means to an end. I wanted to build these cars. The thing that has always kind of pushed me forward and driven me is getting to turn ideas into reality, and YouTube gave me that opportunity. It allowed me to build an audience of people that want to see this stuff happen. It brought me together with partners that believe in that vision, and now for 4 years and change, that's been what we do right here, is attempt to build the absolute coolest stuff that we can. And if this is where we're at now, I'm kind of terrified to think about where the next handful of years might take me.
The early days of StanceWorks were pretty wild. It was just two guys who had met over the internet sharing a passion for cars, and we sort of teamed up my predilection for graphic design and branding with Mike's just inevitable gravitational pull and charisma. It sounds odd by today's standards, but when we got started with the blog, we were young. We were the 20-year-olds showing up to events filled with 50-year-old photographers writing for magazines the way they always had. And Mike and I felt this need to stand out and to make a mark for ourselves. And so what we did was we poured our passion into the photography, into the writing, to make stuff that was cinematic, emotion-filled, and moving for people. I think a lot of Mike's gravitational pull, or that charisma, is that his passion for cars is maybe the purest passion that I've ever witnessed. And I've met thousands of car people in my time, and he knows what he loves. He loves it deeply, and he doesn't let trends or naysayers or purists stop him in his passion for these things. You know, whether it's the BMW E28, Group 5 cars, hot rods, the early years of hot rodding. He loves those things so thoroughly and so purely that it's contagious. There's this joke that all of Mike's friends eventually own a BMW E28, and it's a great car, but that comes from nothing more than the fact that his passion is so honest and authentic for that car that you can't help but fall under that spell eventually. It taps into the natural passion that we have as car enthusiasts, and so people relate to it, but he does it at such a level that it catches people, you know, and I feel blessed that I've gotten to sit and watch that so closely. Everyone gets to tune in on YouTube now, and in the past got to read all of his articles and see his passion there, but I see him as a brother because we have traveled the world together, eaten thousands of lunches together, and I feel blessed to have seen Mike in his element, and that element is nothing more than pure love for cars.
I think it's kind of fun to think that people know me for different cars and types of cars at this point. You know, you go back far enough and it's all BMWs, whether that's my rusty E28 or E36 or any of that kind of stuff. Some people it's hot rods, and obviously for a lot of people these days it's Ferraris, whether it's a Honda swapped one or probably what most people are here for these days, which is this thing, and you know, an F40 or at least parts of one. And it's not a car I ever expected to get to build. I mean, I think if you go out and you ask more or less any car enthusiast what their favorite car is, chances are F40 is going to be in the top 5. It is for me. My hope is to build an F40 that is the best version of it, the most powerful, the fastest, the best handling, something that's going to be fun to drive, because I don't want to put all this time and money and effort into a project like this and then not drive it as much as I can. I think there's a lot of reasons to climb a mountain. That could be for the view from the top. It could be to have a photo of yourself at the top. Maybe it's to plant your flag and stake your claim that you maybe were the first to do something, or who knows what. For me, these projects, they exist because I want the challenge that they represent. And that's why each project gets bigger in scale, because I want that mountain that's really hard to climb, and I want to know that I climbed it, and I want the skills that come with conquering all of these obstacles, because it's going to make the next one that much better. All of these cars that are in here, I'll sell at some point. None of them are forever. I'm not attached to them. They are simply the same means to the same end. all of these represent a stepping stone for the next project. I'll be able to sell this someday so that I can fund a bigger, better, crazier project that's even harder to do. And I know it probably sounds crazy to call this a challenge or to represent it as an obstacle, because I'm conscious of the fact that I have my dream job. I love what I do. I'm literally in the shop building cars that people would kill for. But sometimes the challenge really does push you to not want to work on it at all. I think any car guy knows what it's like to have cars that sit on jack stands for years, because it takes a lot of work to get out there and do it. But one thing's certain, that is, if you aren't out there working on your project car, you don't want it bad enough. Nobody's going to do it for you. And I think that's part of the beauty in it, is that you can get to the end of a project and you know that you did it. Like, you reached a finish line, you accomplished something, whatever that goal that you set out for, whatever the scale of the project. And I think that's absolutely why I'm here building these cars, is because I want to climb the mountain, and I'm eager to climb whatever mountain's coming next, and I hope it's bigger than the rest of them.
You think the transmission will survive SEMA?
It hasn't survived much else so far, but maybe everybody at SEMA will get a full live rebuild just like Laguna Seca.
I think they'll like that.
We broke it in the parking lot. Yeah, every time we've taken this car out to the track, it has tried to break itself, and I think that's part of this journey I don't know that I expected. I mean, I've built a lot of cars in the past, and this is kind of the first one to make that transition from a street car to a purpose-built race car. And with racing comes a lot of just breaking stuff. But as I walk through the paddock at every event, the guys that have been through projects of the same scale always come up and say, like, hey dude, stick with it. This is the side of it that no one ever gets to see. And you're out there, you're doing it, you're showing it to people on YouTube, and that's something that a lot of other people tend to just kind of gloss around. And so it's kind of, I guess, been just like a new mountain to climb, making that transition from road car to race car, and figuring out what I can come back to the shop with, what I can improve on the car, whether that's from a fabrication perspective, an engineering perspective, a serviceability perspective, and then also just my talents as a driver, figuring out how to get better, how to really communicate with the car that's underneath me. It's one very serious car that, truth be told, I probably don't have the talents to really wrangle, but I'm learning it as I go, and knowing that I built it has a lot of value to me too. Even if I'm not going to win anything, that's just part of the drive. It's wanting to climb that next mountain and see this project through to the next step. Yeah, I'm excited to see what people think of the car at SEMA this time. It's the first time it's been since I finished the thing the first time in 2022. So it's a different car this time around, and it's, I don't know, maybe a little bit more well-known. Hopefully it meets expectations.
I don't think anybody actually realized the impact that StanceWorks would make as things kept growing and as they traveled west, And I think when Andrew and Mike moved into their office and built bunk beds upstairs in their office and all lived there together, I don't even think they really understood the impact that they were making, because they weren't focusing on making an impact. They were really just doing what they loved to do. So I think when you find something you love that you're doing and you're passionate about it, and you're good at what you do, the movement in culture will take place no matter what, because people will follow, people will be inspired through all the craziness that happened in those times, which were some of the best times in the world with both Mike and with Andrew. I think I learned to see really what Mike and Andrew did together, and I could see the detail and the creativity from a holistic standpoint that Andrew had, and I could see just how focused and lasered in Mike was on the things that he wanted to do and the things that he knew were right. And I think seeing into the world of, his brain and the things that he's created has inspired tons of people, whether it is building cars or from the inception of StanceWorks, just photography. I think that even that in just itself, if they never built cars or did anything else that they ever did, just the photography alone, changed everything. Inspired so many young people to take up photography, inspired so many people to build cars through their photography because now they were inspired in a different way. And I think that, Andrew and Mike did clothing, and then all of a sudden Lowly Gentlemen came along, and they were just, again, it's what everybody dreams of, and it's what both of them have always done well, is follow their passion and follow their heart. They do not compromise.
Yeah, I haven't even really got to photograph this thing since we put it together. I only have a few photos in this livery, so it's kind of fun to get to photograph it before it goes into SEMA. And of course, it's the hard to get to locations that always look the best. It's kind of funny to think that most of the people that are subscribed on YouTube probably have no idea that StanceWorks was a huge blog a decade ago documenting other people's projects and builds and shops. And it's definitely a weird transition that it's gone from that to just me in the shop building my own stuff. I think I'm probably a little bit happier doing that. I'm doing what I want to be doing, but it's definitely run the gamut of all things automotive at this point. All right, car is finally in the booth. I'm gonna leave everything else to the GYEON guys. It's a weight off my shoulders. I need coffee more than anything. Now that the channel has grown to the point that it has, there's definitely a community that surrounds it, whether that's just viewers or if that's YouTube commenters, Discord members, whatever the case may be. It has a community at this point, and I think that's really cool. There's been a community in the past, back when we had blog readers or forum members, when we've done car shows, and now that whole thing has shifted into something else that I'm like unfamiliar with in many ways. Of a small number of people even here at SEMA are here specifically just to see my car or to say hi to me, and it's flattering, it's special, it's awesome. It's also weird at times because I'm just a dude in the garage making a car just like anybody else, but it makes an event like this special. We're here, it's fun to get to celebrate the car and the hard work that goes into it, but the part that makes it rewarding is all of the people that come and want to see the car, that appreciate seeing it. Even the ones that have never seen it before, they're unfamiliar with it, they walk up to it, they are surprised by it. Or the people that come up and say, I've watched every single of your 150 episodes building this car. It's all special, and they're all kind of related to a community in some way, whether they know it or not.
A nie do policzenia są zasługi czy wpływ StanceWorksa dla całej światowej sceny obecnie. I myślę, że cała masa projektów na całym świecie powstała inspirowana przez StanceWorks. Ze StanceWorks mieliśmy kontakt pierwszy raz pewnie około 2009 roku, 2010. I na tamten czas to była jakaś zupełnie nowa świeżość. W sensie nikt nie prowadził bloga bądź portalu internetowego pokazującego tak precyzyjnie zarówno samochodów, jak i historii właścicieli, którzy stali za tymi autami. Biła od tego bardzo mocna jakość, biła od tego wizja, jakaś spójność i piękne historie opisywane przez Majka. Na pewno to wciągało, pozwalało budować community w tamtym czasie wokół StanceWorks. Super ciekawy gość, bardzo skromna osoba. Zarazem widać, że zdecydowana poświęciła całe życie tak naprawdę tej kulturze i temu, żeby rozumieć, co jest w niej najbardziej pasjonujące i gdzie szukać inspiracji. Ja osobiście jestem bardzo szczęśliwy, że mamy możliwość spotkać Majka podczas wydarzenia Alces w Niemczech. Ta współpraca jest możliwa dzięki marce GYEON i jestem bardzo wdzięczny za to, że dostaliśmy takie wsparcie i że możemy spotkać dla nas legendę i nie mogę się doczekać tego, co przyniesie przyszłość, jeżeli chodzi o tą współpracę.
For the future of the channel, I'm really just going to focus on making the episodes that I want to make. That's been my MO the whole time, and I think it's really important to me to just focus on that and let the audience find me, and that way we're both happy. I want to make what I want to do, they want to see what I want to make, and I think that's what will yield the best result. As far as the car goes, my only goal is to put everything that I can into this F40. And I think it's going to be the biggest thing that I've done so far. I'm giving it all that I've got in every measurable resource possible, and I'm just eager to see it to the finish line.
I think StanceWorks today, as it stands, kind of represents everything we had dreamed about for it in the early days. And I think in some ways, we were just early with our dreams. The thing about Mike is I think he'll be doing this as long as he physically can. That's how honest that love is for this thing. And so as far as I see it, this is just a natural trajectory for StanceWorks. And I imagine we all know exactly what he'll be doing when he's 60. You know, he's gonna be chopping up some car somewhere in a garage.
When I dropped out of school 15 years ago and moved to Southern California, I knew that it was going to come with some exciting memories and it'd bring some adventures. But I figured at some point I'd have to get a real desk job and be an adult. Somehow I got lucky because here I am continuing to chase a dream and building the absolute craziest cars I can even think of.